Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So I have taken some of your comments on board, and today I thought I would record quite a different video. So it is still doing nails, but as you can see from the thumbnail, these nails are in desperate need of some tender love and care, baby. So this is my client Emma. Now Emma goes weeks with her nails and kind of just messages as and when, because she's a busy mum. She works, she's got kids. And sometimes her nails end up absolutely battered, and that is just life. It can happen to anyone. I have other obviously clients that don't, their nails are fine, but these had been on for long. They were quite unbalanced. There was quite a bit of lifting. As you can see, she'd lost quite a few, pulled that middle one off. So we needed to spend a little bit of time and care on these nails today, and that is what I've done. So she's come in, I've sat her down, I've used sanitizing like Dettol hand gel, rubbed it into her hands and my hands, because I think it's crucial to have nice clean hands and a germ-free area to work from. I do always clean and sanitize all my tools, and I use a fresh sanding band for each client. I chuck it away after I've used it. I also use a fresh file for each client. So I'm going in now, and I've took the bulk down off the 2 nails that were remaining. I did record, well, I thought I'd pressed record, but I hadn't pressed record like an absolute donkey, but I'm glad that I noticed and ended up recording here. So I'm just going in and etching the new growth that's there, and on that thumb there is quite significant lifting. I'm going to show you in a moment. So I've took a fresh new file. This is a 150 grit, and I have sped this up so it does look like I'm being a little bit rough, but I'm not being aggressive. I'm literally just trying to work out where the lifting is, and I'm filing behind it. So you could see then I just lifted it up slightly. I didn't want to pull it. I don't want to pull it away from the nail and hurt my client. So I'm just showing you, like, there's a line. You can see where the lift has started on the nail and then where it's still attached onto the nail plate. I'm then going to file around that area, and eventually it will just flake away because it's not attached to the nail. We don't need it on the nail. We want it off the nail. We don't want to do any sort of infill or any work on top of any lifted nail where dirt, germs, anything can harbour underneath. Now, I know the underneath of her nail looks pretty grim, but I can assure you now, I didn't want to go filing underneath and risk snapping the nail off. So all of that dirt you see is actually under her natural nail on the underside and not on top of that extension. That is very important that the area is nice and clean. What I do is when I've finished my design, I will take a comb bit and go underneath those nails and clean them all out, and spray and clean afterwards, and then obviously just pop my drill bit straight back into the barber side and give them a good soak. So I'm just taking my CJP nippers now and just nipping away some of that excess cuticle. I'm not going in, I'm not confident to go right in and remove all of that epinicium, I think it is. I don't want to remove all of that. I just want to get all of the little hangy bits off, and she has quite thick cuticles, and just take them away, just so my prep, I know my prep is done well, and that these nails are going to last her as long as possible. So I've done all that. I've just sprayed with Prep Spray Plus, gave them a scrub with my fresh sanitized plastic manicure brush. And now I'm just applying my CJP holographic nail forms. So I take them off the roll, I stick the backy bit on the back, I roll it between my fingers, and then I offer it up to the nail and then secure it into place. So I'm using the one monomer now, which doesn't require a primer, so I'm just going straight in with my acrylic application now. If you are worried that you touched any of those nail plates with your own hands as you're applying them nail forms, and just come back in with either a little bit of acid primer or your black bottle dehydrator, just to cleanse and get rid of any of the oils you may have just transferred onto her nail from yours. You don't want any of them because that will cause lifting. So again, I'm just applying another clear base down back onto that thumb. You can see the extension on the tip is still very much intact, and I've removed all lifting. There are no lines, no white bits, and that is what we're looking for. That's when you know that you've removed all the lifted areas. If you don't remove the lifted areas, you can set yourself up for things like bacteria, like greenies growing on the nail, which is like green stains on the nail. It can happen when water gets trapped underneath an extension if it's lifted, but it can also happen if you infill a nail that has lift on it, where a little bit of debris or dirt has been stuck under that lifted area and you haven't removed it and cleansed it. You then cover it, making a nice dark breeding ground. They love it. It's dark, it's moist, and they breed, and that is what they feast on the nail plate, and that makes your nail green. So you don't want to do that. So I'm just going to come in now and sculpt my clear base back onto these nails. Yeah, so I take quite a large bead, place it at that cuticle area, using the tip of my brush to tap it on and blend it in so there is no ridge, so it's nice and flush and smooth. And then I will start focusing on the shape, pulling it down with the body of my brush, working it into the shape, making sure that I'm using her sidewalls as my guideline, because I don't want to miss any of her nail. I don't want the extension coming in and not being then structurally sound. So I'm just using her sidewalls as my guideline. I've got a nice pinch in my form already, as you can see, which gives the extension a nice C-curve to make it nice and strong. And then I'm going to come in afterwards and do our design. So I've removed all of the forms and just cleaned up the edges with my file, and just looking at that pinky nail, that little bit of skin is driving me nuts, but it was actually a hangnail that is attached. I probably should have just trimmed it a little bit so it wasn't looking so darn disgusting, but it was still attached, so if I would have cut it, she would have bled. A hangnail is when it is still attached, and you don't want to go in trying to buff them off with a ball or nippers, because it will bleed, because it's attached to living tissue. So I'm going in with this beautiful colour called Fig, and it is unreleased, but I think it's coming out soon, and it is from CJP. I'm just going to build with this colour. I've got that clear base underneath. I don't need to cap it. I'm not applying any design. I'm just going straight in with the colour. So I'm just building that little apex. The nails aren't long, they don't need a huge apex in the back third, but I just still want them strong, and when they grow out, to be as balanced for as long as possible. So I'm picking up quite a big bead of them, and then just tucking it in as neat as I can to that cuticle, avoiding getting any on the skin because it's such a deep, beautiful colour, it will stain. So I'm just going to start walking that down, tapping it from side to side, walking it down, and just trimming off that excess. I always seem to use too much when I do small nails, and you seem like taking off so much. It probably wastes so much, but it's something I need to work on personally. So I'm just filling the little gaps. I did do the thumb after this nail because that was another nail of Fig, but I was just completely out of shot. So I just edited it out. I'm really sorry. But now I'm coming in with this stunning glitter, and I don't know where it's from. It has no name on the lid. I think it is from Nail Sugar, because I did have another pot of theirs, and it was stunning. But it didn't have no name on the lid, but I have no idea of the name of it. I'm really sorry, but if I do find out, I will ask around. If I do find out, I'll ask, and I'll leave it in the description box. But I'm just dipping my wet brush into my clear acrylic, tiny little bead, dipping that into the raw glitter, and then placing it onto the nail and just kind of nudging it where I want it to go. And then I'm going to come in with crystal glass and encapsulate those nails. So I place the bead on at the cuticle area, use the tip of my brush to tuck it right into that cuticle area, but not blending the bulk of that bead down, because I want to leave some of that product in that back third area, so I have got a little bit of an apex there and up arch and all of that. And then swiping off any excess off the end of the nail, and that way I know it's all been capped. The nail's not bulky and thick, and I'm not going to file away any of that glitter. If your glitter is matte, then you know it is all nice and encapsulated. If you have any shiny patches, it means you've missed a bit. So go back in, honey. Hey guys, look what I've left in. It's some filing. Woo! I haven't left filing in for bloody ages, so I've left some filing in for you. So it is sped up, I'm really sorry, but I still can't get videos over 15 minutes long, even though I have that green tick that says I can. It don't let me off my iMovie, which is so annoying. So I'm taking this smooth top around your bit. I go around the cuticle area. I go back and forth, like back and over. I don't drag back and forth, if that even makes sense. I go one way, lift up, back, one way, lift up, back. Go across the whole nail just to smooth it out. As you saw, they don't need a lot of refining. I did a lot with my brush. I didn't apply too much product. They're not bulky. And then I'm coming in with that brand new file that we used earlier on the same client. Which will either go with the client, go in her client record card bag, or it will just go in the bin. I like to use fresh files, and if it's not fresh, it is the file has only been used on their hands, because I have like a little clear baggie that I keep their record card, their file, their buffer in. And the reason I don't use like black ones or paper ones is because the clear is see-through, so bacteria doesn't like grow or anything like that. Yeah, so I'm taking my hand file now, doing the side walls, the free edge, and then I go over the nail, all the way around the cuticle area, up, down the other side, and then I flip my client's hand around and just refine from her view, just to make sure the nail is nice and straight and crisp, and just looking nice, so that when she looks at her hands, she's going to look down and see some really pretty, straight, even nails. And then she asked if she could have a rose, and so I delivered. I just take a small bead of coconut milk, and I'm using the Nailmate size 5 brush. Absolutely love this brush for 3D work. I then just use the tip of that brush in like the join where the acrylic has been placed and manipulated into a C shape, and then I will wait for it to go matte and then press those petals out. And you also get them little lines, but I really like them. It's like definition of those petals. They make me super happy. So again, I'm wiggling it out into like a little C shape, using the tip of my brush in where the join is to push downwards and push those petals out. Bish, bash, bosh. Then I'm going to take a bead and I'm going to go right in the center of that rose. If I was doing a bigger rose on a full nail, I would go in and do 2 more petals before the middle bit. But as it's just a small rose, I'm going to go in and do the middle bit. I point my brush and I go round and round, and then when it starts to go matte and set, I swipe into it, make like a little Swiss roll shape, and then push them beads out. All that is done, I'm going to go in with my top coat all the nails, get her to cure in the lamp for 60 seconds. When she comes out, I'm going to replenish those cuticles with some nice cuticle oil, make them nice and soft. And then that is the end. I've left a little clip at the end. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. It was some transformation, hey, when she came in, and now she's walking away with nice, beautiful, shiny, clean nails. I love you all so much. Thank you all for your suggestions. I am working on them all. I really do appreciate you all so much, and thank you for watching. I love you all. Bye bye.